know those times where you're just sitting on a secluded island, there's no one else around, and all of a sudden, from the ocean, this girl with like shining green eyes just rises out of the ocean and becomes your true love? No? Hey guys, it's Madeline here. So being an aspiring writer and journalist, I tend to overanalyze anything and everything. So today, we're going to be overanalyzing Emerald Isle by Velvet Starlings. We're gonna rip this song to pieces, learn some new things, and probably change how you and most definitely I listen to this song for the rest of eternity. Let's do it. I do want to say, for one, you're in for a pretty elaborate analysis today, but not as elaborate as you might think. I mean, I'm not going to stand up in front of the camera and do this. You hear this, guys? Listen to this. Like, you see, like, it's 47 miles off the California coast. California is the golden state, and gold is greed. It is completely, it's a hoax, just like the California gold rush, which is bad. He's getting away from all the bad stuff, and it's 47, 4 equals death, and 497 is 3. 3 is a magic number, but 7 is good, which means that she's magic. And so she's a magic, it's evil magic. 4 is death, Christian! You may think I'm exaggerating, but that is literally what I wrote in the first draft for this analysis. I already talked pretty in-depth about the imagery used in the song in my review of Love Everything, Love Everyone, so I'm not going to go into too much detail about that in this video. If you want to watch that, I'll put a link to that video in the eye. But in this analysis, what I've been waiting for is to talk about the specific allusions in this song, specifically mythological allusions. When I first heard it, I was just thinking, what the heck? I mean, obviously it's a really great song. It's so immersive in the world that he's trying to put you in, but at the same time, why is it just that there's a girl rising up from the ocean? Like, how is that practical? Why are we dancing with a ghost? Also, why is there a karaoke tribe? Well, we actually do have an answer to most of these questions. If you ask Christian Gisborne, the writer of the song, the lyrics are actually quite literal in a sense. In an interview back in March 2019 with Andros Jones of Radio 8 Ball, Christian and his father revealed most of the background of how this song was written.
We went to Catalina with my brother,
because there's a bar called a karaoke bar called the El Galleon on it, but there's a place called Emerald Bay, and we thought it was called Emerald Isle, basically based on that karaoke bar. And like, there were people in there that were like meeting each other for the first time, and like in relationships, or ones that would seem like they were blossoming that night because they were singing together. You got to remember, it's Catalina. Everyone's drinking margaritas nonstop.
And I'm just gonna take another moment to just applaud Christian's accuracy here, because maybe 47 miles from LA, which is where Velvet Starlings is based, to the Catalina Islands, the distance between those two places is about 47.9 miles. But it still didn't strike me why there was a girl rising up from the ocean. Like, where did that come from? And the first thing that struck me when I started thinking about this song was the idea of Calypso and Ogygia from Greek mythology. If you don't know the story, Calypso was trapped on this island called Ogygia for a bunch of years. If you've read Percy Jackson, you would know the story that men were sent to her that couldn't stay, and whenever the men would leave, there would be a boat that would carry them off the island, basically. Something interesting to note, she entertained Odysseus for 7 years on this island in the story of the Odyssey, and in the last verse, we see a lyric that says, "Was my 6th or 7th time." But after diving into the idea of Greek mythology, I started to realize an even greater connection with the girl in particular. Wait just a minute, right before my eyes, like a jewel coming out of the sea. It's obvious this song is about love. This guy sees a girl rise from the sea, they immediately fall in love, and they kiss, and they hug, and happily ever after, whatever. But it's interesting to note that the Greek goddess Aphrodite was birthed from the sea. She just arose out of the sea one day. Additionally, Aphrodite was often thought to be associated with emeralds in Greek mythology. This girl is the epitome of true love in this song, so it would make a lot of sense that Aphrodite and the girl would be connected. And here's where it starts to get interesting. At the very beginning of the first verse, we hear,
off the California coast, maybe 47 miles. There's a place to rest your bones. Lake is called the Emerald Isle. Was the last day of my trip. Dragged my suitcase through the sand. Though I thought I'd missed the boat. It was all part of the plan.
There are so many things to discuss in this one stanza, and I'm gonna try and dissect them one by one. Here at the beginning, Emerald Isle is being described as a place to rest your bones. And additionally, the narrator is dragging his suitcase through the sand on the last day of his trip. In Greek mythology, there is a boat that is meant to carry people to the underworld. And here's where the question comes in. Is the narrator of this song actually dead? The suitcase dragging through the sand could technically be a casket, and a place to rest your bones in the ground, the skeleton, the body that isn't alive anymore. The guide of the boat, or whatever you want to call him, Charon, he is not able to carry you on that boat across the river Styx until you have a proper burial. So this would make sense why it was the last day of his trip. He's being buried. It's the very last day of his trip before he goes on this boat across the Styx. The river Styx circles the underworld 7 times, which again goes back to the part in the third verse, was my 6th or 7th time. Across the river Styx, there's a place in the underworld called the Veil of Mourning. The Veil of Mourning isn't supposed to be like morning and night, but instead grief and sorrow. And it's meant for those people who wasted their time in life on meaningless love. This would make sense as the narrator is constantly saying, from her love I would never be free. Because he's stuck in this veil of mourning, he can never be free of it. And in the third verse, he also says that he was dancing with her ghost until his sadness disappeared. So maybe he was imagining this girl that came. There was lovers come and gone, no one else had quite compared. So this could either be a girl that existed in his life that left him, or it could be this perfect girl that he never met in life that he was always wanting to be. She was the perfect true love for him. They could never fight, never could go wrong, etc. And you also have to think of the term ghost. It could be a ghost as in a dead person, but we also have a very common term nowadays to ghost someone, especially online, means to just leave them without saying anything. I was dancing with her ghost, so it is very possible that this girl could have been someone that actually existed that once ghosted him, and now he's imagining that he's back with her. Coming back to the girl rising out from the sea, that is a symbolism of baptism, or a rebirth. It could be a forgiveness of sins, so forgiving himself for wasting all his time on love. It could be a rebirth of, again, the lover that he once really loved. Maybe he did something bad to drive her away, but he still never comes out of this veil of mourning because at the end, he doesn't want to be free. He wants to stay there forever with this imaginary girl that he loves. Was he hallucinating? I think he was. And with the 6th or 7th time going back in through the years, when you miss the boat to the afterlife, you're just a soul wandering across on the side of the river Styx for eternity, basically. There were a few things in this analysis that I wasn't able to decipher what they meant, such as, for instance, Jimmy Buffett in my ears. Apparently Jimmy Buffett is some company man in Catalina Islands, something like that. Additionally, Emerald is also Christian's birthstone. So it could be possible that the narrator could be a representation of Christian, but that could also just be a coincidence, and it probably is. And, I guess I'm wearing this shirt now. If you're gonna judge me for anything, I will say in my defense, this shirt is extremely comfortable. No one ever sells a shirt that isn't either white or black. It's always those two colors, and most of the time it's black. But usually when they do, it ends up being like really, really thick, and me living in Southern California, I tend to start dying in the summer with all of my black shirts, and yet this is like pretty thin. and I don't know, it's just super comfortable. So anyway guys, yeah, thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this analysis. It took me so long until I could do this. So please subscribe if you would like to see more videos, give it a like if you did like the video, and leave a comment down below what song you would like me to overanalyze next. And with that said, thanks guys for watching. Remember to play it loud. Right here on the Emerald Isle, yeah, you can dance with the others singing all night long. All the karaoke patrons agree. With our karaoke tribe.